A recent NBC poll found that nearly 61% of Americans regularly live beyond their means, in that they were living paycheck to paycheck. And a whopping 72% of Americans reported feeling as though they are financially insecure. Folks, this is a problem. The question is, what's gotten us into this mess? Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining me for session 2 of a 5-session series we've called What's Enough? It's a series we've put together to help you talk about the one thing that brings your family, that brings couples and individuals more anxiety, uncertainty, fear, and stress than anything else in America. You know what it is. It's your finances. But before we fix the problem, we should probably answer the question, what's gotten us into this mess? And today, I want to suggest there's a little of the prodigal son in all of us. Do you know the story of the prodigal son? It goes like this. In Luke chapter 15, Jesus tells a parable. There was a man who had 2 sons. The younger of them said to his father, "Father, give me the share of my property that will belong to me." So he divided his property between them. A few days later, the younger son gathered all he had and traveled to a distant country, and there he squandered his property in dissolute living. When he had spent everything, a severe famine took place throughout that country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to one of the citizens of that country, who sent him to his fields to feed the pigs. He would gladly have filled himself with the pods that the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. This story Jesus tells is often called the story of the prodigal son, because the word prodigal literally means one who wastes money. The truth is, most of us struggle with this very same habit. All the son wanted was instant gratification right now. He wasn't interested in tomorrow. He was living in the now. And again, the truth is, we can relate, can't we? We struggle because we're only thinking about today. 50% of all Americans have less than $25,000 set aside for retirement. And 27% of us have no savings to speak of. For most Americans, when we sit down to pay our bills at the end of the month, we find ourselves scratching our heads like the prodigal son and asking, where did it all go? We're prodigals, aren't we? We find all kinds of ways to waste money. For example, does anyone struggle with this? Impulse buying. Raise your hand if you're guilty. Come on. When it comes to impulse buying, I am one of the worst offenders. I walked into a store, something catches my attention, and I think, I've got to have it. And 2 minutes later, I'm walking out of the store with something I had no intention of buying, and it's nothing I need. How do we avoid impulse buying? Well, first, never go to the grocery store when you're hungry. Never. But second, make a list before you go to the store and stick to it. If you see something else you want, well, just write it down and save it for your next shopping trip. Here's another way many of us waste a lot of money: eating out. Think about this. The average American family eats out 4 times a week. If you were to take your family of 4 out to eat 4 times a week for an entire year, get this, that would cost you $15,000 every year. Now, I'm not suggesting that you shouldn't eat out, but with the cost of eating out increasing by almost 10% over last year, maybe it's time we rein things in a bit. The truth is, to some extent, we all have a little of the prodigal son in us. And because of that, managing our finances, it fills us with anxiety, uncertainty, fear, and stress. So as we close today, I want you to think about these couple of questions. What are your prodigal son tendencies? Where do you find yourself wasting money? And secondly, what tactics have you used or will you use to curb those tendencies?